we're live. We did it.
Yay!
Yay! This is the whole thing, everyone. Welcome. So welcome, everyone, to One More Page Books, the virtual edition. My name's Amanda, and I'm your One More Page host for this evening, and we are so excited to have a lovely virtual romantic event, especially on a day as rainy as we are having here in Northern Virginia. It's just the perfect type of the evening to cozy up with a nice romance novel, maybe a dog, a glass of wine, 3 or 4 glasses of wine if you're reading one of Angelina's books, and settle in for a lovely evening of romance. So I'm going to get out of your screen soon enough. Don't worry, you won't have to look at my mug for too long. But first, I'm going to introduce our lovely authors who are joining us here tonight. I will start with Angelina, as Angelina is doing the in-conversating with tonight. Angelina Lopez is the author of Lush Money and Hate Crush. She's the daughter of vineyard owners, which is a big inspiration for her series, and specializes in writing sexy stories about fierce women and the men who love them. She doesn't live in Virginia anymore, and we all hate it. So boo to that, but yay to everything else. Welcome, Angelina.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here again.
We're so glad to have you. And then we have our author of the hour, Elysia Whisler. She was born in Texas and raised in Italy, Alaska, Mississippi, Nebraska, Hawaii, and Virginia in true military fashion. Her nomadic life has made storytelling an unavoidable compulsion from a young age. When asked where she's from, her typical answer is everywhere. She doubles as a mother, a licensed massage therapist, and a CrossFit trainer. I think that's more than doubles. That's like quadruples as. Yeah. And is dedicated to raising, coaching, and portraying strong women both in life and in her works. She lives here in Northern Virginia with her family, including her large brood of cat and dog rescues who vastly outnumber the humans, as it should be. And her book we're discussing tonight, Rescue You, is the first in the Dogwood County series. So a round of applause virtually for our lovely authors.
Yay, Alicia! Woo!
All right, I'm going to leave you two to it. Don't get in too much trouble while I'm gone. And have fun. Enjoy.
Thanks so much, Amanda. Alicia, I could not have been more pleased to be invited to host your event. We met like 2 years ago, year and a half ago. Yeah, something like that. So I was in Northern Virginia. You're from Northern Virginia, and we are very, very fortunate to share an agent.
Yes.
Yeah, the fabulous Sarah Megabo, who we loved. And so Sarah came out to DC, and Elysia and I got together with Sarah and our husbands and had drinks, and we have been agency soul sisters ever since.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
It was lovely. Well, I just want to say congratulations on this. Let me see, center it in the screen. There we go. This fabulous debut with this fabulous cover. Were you so thrilled when you saw this cover?
Oh, it's so cute, isn't it? It's got the dogs and the ocean, and yeah, it's just super cute. It's well cute. It's nice. It's a pretty cover. I love it.
It is, and it's like mature too. It's not like, it's a beautiful cover, and I think in the year of our good Lord 2020, this is like, I want dogs and I want beach and I want to like be a little bit more fit than I've been. So I think this is everything that I need in 2020. So thank you very much for giving it to me, and thank you congratulations on a debut.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Well, so now I've just been like fawning over it. Tell us a little bit about this fabulous book.
Okay, so it's the first in a series called the Dogwood County series, which, funny enough, it didn't start that way. I thought it was a one-off, and my editor really wanted to see the stories of some of the other characters, and I'm like, well, okay. And next thing I knew, we've got a series going. So you bought the book and you're like, I don't see Dogwood County anywhere. What is this retroactive naming? That's why. Because we didn't know, and now we know.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously there's rescue, there's dogs in this series, and that comes from, it's about, Rescue is about 2 sisters. It's a love story. I'll say that at the outset. Yeah. We're marketing it under women's fiction and romance, and all that's fine, and all that fits. Yeah. At the core, it's a love story. And it's a love story. There's romantic love, there's sister love, there's friendship love, and then, of course, there's canine human love, which everybody loves. So there's a sister that owns a dog rescue, a sister that's a massage therapist, and together they sort of make this magic happen with the dog rescue. And then there's a grumpy gym owner hero who also needs some rescuing. There's dogs that need rescuing. Both of the sisters kind of need rescuing. And so everybody kind of comes together, rescues each other.
Yeah.
Good things happen. There's obviously some ugly things in the book, but at the end, love wins. So
well, and it's good. I mean, it definitely presents good conflict, that people are really going through. These characters are going through. There's a bit of a lovely fancifulness to it because it's dogs and massage and a dog rescue vacation era, this lovely the cabins, but it's also really, really grounded in real things and real recovery. And it is interesting to me that all of your protagonists are about giving love, whether they're giving it through, massage, or giving it through creating this gym, or giving it through, dog rescue, or giving through being a supportive friend. Like that's every protagonist. There's a number of protagonists, I feel like, in this book, and they're all about providing to other people. And I think
that's true. Service to each other. There is a lot, and I guess I didn't think about that, but it came naturally. There's a lot about service in this book.
Yeah.
Service, obviously military service veterans, and then there's the service you can give through massage, through rescuing animals. So there's a lot of selflessness. And of course this fits on Veterans Day, doesn't it? It's like
without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. No, so is this the first in a series? How long is the series right now, or what's the series right now?
Well, right now there will be at least 3 books, including.
Okay, awesome.
Will be at least 3, and after that, we're not sure, but I know at least 3 because I have a contract for 2 more books, and that's live and out there. I'm not spilling any secrets or anything.
Yeah.
So 2 more books coming. We already know that Forever Home is the next book in the series, and it's coming next year. I mean, you know how it is in publishing, dates change over time, but right now we're guessing fall of 2021 for that book, but who knows? That's not set in stone.
Sure.
But we know that Forever Home is next, so that's what's next, and then book 3, we're calling it book 3, is after that.
Okay. Yeah. I assumed it was a series, but I wasn't sure, and so I wanted to get that stress off my chest right away, so I knew.
But don't feel bad about being confused, because at first it wasn't, and
they were like, we want to spend, I mean, it is a very magical community. And I mean, there is an element of like, there's the bad guys and the good. I mean, there is this wonderful, small townness to it, that sensibility of this community. They all know each other. They rely on each other. Sense to it. Yeah. I've never seen a book reflect the author more perfectly, in terms of, if you read your bio, you could just put that and then this is what the book is. So there's so many things to talk about who you are flows through this book. So first of all, I think, considering that it is Veterans Day, tell us a little bit about your military background and why you draw into what you're writing, and how, why was it important for you to represent, kind of how you represent in this book, why was it important for you?
Yeah. So I grew up, I'm a military kid. I don't like to be a military brat. I don't like that. People say it, I laugh, but I don't like it, because there's nothing bratish about what military kids live through, So my dad served over 30 years. I don't know exactly how many, but it was over 30 years. He enlisted really young, became an officer, and of course, the family, did all that with him. In fact, every Veterans Day, I do text my dad and I say, thank you for your service. And he always says, and thank you for yours. It is sweet, because, and I'm like, the first time I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, that's a whole family affair. And it is. Mm-hmm. Military life is a family affair. It affects everybody, and everybody has to sacrifice. So, and obviously it's who I was growing up. So kind of like it's in my fabric. And now that I'm a CrossFit instructor, there's a lot of military people in the CrossFit world.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And so I'm around military people on a daily basis, and that culture, it is a culture. That culture is very prevalent, and I feel right at home with it. Mm-hmm. What I liked about CrossFit when I first found it was it had that military culture vibe, and I was just drawn to it.
What about what is that culture? And then, how was that represented in Rescue You?
Yeah, so good question, Angelina.
It's interesting. Well, and the reason I asked that is because my husband worked for Military Time for a while. We were in journalism.
Yeah.
Until that moment, I had not had, my family was not in the military growing up. So it gave me an insight into a community that I had not, just didn't understand, hadn't been a part of. But when I had that insight, suddenly I was so grateful for the service. I finally understood. And I finally understood that concept of being in service. And they would do an award called Military Family Member of the Year. And that's where I learned that it is the whole family that's part of the military. And that idea of that generosity of spirit, but that it's a duty. That's a duty to be in service to your fellow man. And it was something that was very, as an outsider who had no idea, who reached her mid-30s and then came in, it was a really interesting culture. So I just didn't know if there was an opportunity to talk a little bit about that.
It's in a way, it's a little tribal or clannish, but not the bad things you might associate with tribalism or clannishness. But it's a little bit like that, in that you're kind of all relying on each other.
Yeah,
Very small, tight knit community. So like the military wives, for example, will help each other out. Because they know what everybody's going through. You got to pack up and move every 1, 2, 3 years. They know what it's like to, go hurry up and wait at you go to the hospital and you're waiting forever to be seen because it's a military hospital, and that's just what it's like. And long lines at the commissary, or, it's very tribal in that way. And that, you make a lot of sacrifices for that kind of life, moving around all the time, changing schools, changing friends, changing jobs, you might be in a foreign country. In a foreign country, and at least if you get to live on the base or near other military people, you at least have a little piece of home. So maybe you're in Japan and you're like, I don't speak Japanese, and I don't know the Japanese culture well, but I have my little clan of other military people I can at least touch base with while I'm learning how to live in this new culture, kind of.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. And speaking of, Rhett, your hero, definitely sacrificed a lot for his military career. Well, and he's extremely hot. So grouchy.
Like the hot hero.
He's so grouchy. And usually I'm like, you know what, man, just like get over it. Like, how hard it smile. But Rhett, you understand why. He owns it, and he's really, really hot at it. So Rhett is your military hero. Constance is, the daughter of military. Like, what did you want them to, how did you want them to be? How did you want your hot military hero? What did you want Rhett to say in this book? Or what was important for you that he did say in this book?
I think it was important that he found his vulnerability. Yeah. He was willing to share it. Because to realize there's strength in that. Yeah. So, you're the tough guy. You're not going to let anybody in past your walls. But at the end of the day, he figures out it's really takes more courage and more strength to show the vulnerability, at least to the people perhaps that you trust and a connection with, which he did with Constance. So that I think was what his character arc, if that's what I think that's what you're going through, is he starts out kind of like nobody's getting in this wall, and then by the end he's like, well, okay, maybe it's not so bad, and maybe I'm really courageous to actually let her in. Yeah.
Well, Constance has her own walls as well, correct? It's Constance.
It is. Yeah. Old-fashioned ones.
Yeah. She has her own walls as well. So kind of talk a little bit, what were her walls and what was important for her to overcome?
Yeah. So she had her mother died young. And she had a younger sister. She basically raised, they're about 5 years. I think there's 5 years apart. So, she's got a father, but he's your traditional, and they were older parents. So she's got a Vietnam era father who's, legally deaf and barely talks to anybody. I mean, he's a good father, but like, he's not going to do he's going to be your traditional old school dad. He's not going to the PTA and cooking you meals and that kind of thing. So Constance had to assume a lot of that. She kind of had to grow up early and kind of be the mom a little bit to her sister, always being the responsible one. And then, her dad dies of cancer, and her fiance is, treating her differently when she's not the same person that he thought she was when they met, because she's going through these things with her dad. So she's in this bad place, she's just in a bad place.
Definitely.
Who am I? And everything she loves, she doesn't love anymore. She used to be a runner, and now she hates it. And so when she finds the gym and she meets Rhett, and it's like all this kind of connection where she's like, I can find myself again here.
Yeah. Yeah. So so the next part of your bio again, or one of them is CrossFit, you know? So when I open a book and I have a woman walking into CrossFit, I'm like, absolutely not, because that sounds horrible. But you were able to write such an interesting tactile like representation of this intense challenge that I found it really, really fascinating. Those scenes where you're really getting into kind of the mental, the physical, but also the mental, like, was that really complicated? How were you able to get there and make those so interesting?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I never call it CrossFit in the book.
No, you didn't.
No. But everybody who reads it, that has heard of it, is like, oh, that's CrossFit. They always say, oh, you have CrossFit in your book. And I'm like, oh, I suppose I do, although I never call it that. But I really appreciate that, because I know, there can be some stigma to it. People think it's only for a certain type of person, or for people, or, that kind of thing. And I've actually had a couple of people, I try not to read my reviews, but I've read a couple of them that I was tagged in. If I'm tagged in them, I'll see them, right? And one lady even said, I'd never even considered CrossFit before, but now I kind of want to try it. And that made me so happy, because it really is for everybody. And I wanted that whole idea of not just her reconnecting with her military side, which is definitely there, but reconnecting with her. She used to love to run and suddenly doesn't. But then there's a way that she can get fit again, fit in her way, a healthy way, not let's get skinny way, which, there's a lot of that out there for women. Oh, here's a way to shed 20 pounds in a month, not eat. And it's like, wait, why are we starving our women? Why do we want our women weak? So I really wanted that whole CrossFit helps make you strong in a healthy way. And I wanted to portray it like that. So I'm glad it came across that way to you, someone who doesn't do it and doesn't want to do it and wouldn't read a book about it. Suddenly you're like, oh, this looks interesting. So I think hopefully achieved my goal of that.
Well, I think it was a really interesting way of showing Rhett being a nurturer, which is the least likely thing to say, that a gym owner, but it was a way for him to show him nurturing somebody's best self, in this, in CrossFit, but encouraging her and coaching her through that. Then the next, again, part of your bio that then is the massage therapy.
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about that. How did you, how was that represented in your life? And then how did you weave it into this book?
Hold on. I don't know what my
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you see me, or did I go away?
No, I can still see you.
Okay. You can still see me. Cool. So as long as you can see me, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden my screen blanked.
Oh no. Yeah. No.
Okay. As long as you can see me. So your question was,
massage. Talk about massage therapy, its role in your life, and then how you incorporate it in the book.
Got it. Oh, so that's a funny story. Not me getting it. Me getting to massage therapy was, I had actually been coaching CrossFit first, and massage therapy was actually kind of an added, I came into it late. I didn't get my license when I was young or anything. I got it after my coaching certs. And it just kind of went hand in hand. It's something I was always curious about, kind of always wanted to do. And then it really fit in with fitness and health and the body, and how I'm, always really interested in how people move. Are they moving well?
Yeah.
And, people might think of CrossFit and just think of, people throwing weights around or doing crazy things. But really, at the foundation, it's about moving correctly and moving well. And so I was really interested in body movement, and that just kind of went hand in hand with massage therapy. Went and got my license. That took a couple years, and started my practice. And then when I started writing Rescue You, to be honest, the massage therapy and the CrossFit were in there, and the dogs were not.
Wow, really?
That was a different book.
Uh-huh.
And my fabulous, amazing, insightful agent, Sarah, was like, you know what this book needs? It needs the dogs.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, wait, what? No. And I'm like in my head, like, that's not going to work. That's not going to fit. That's too many things. And she's like, no, just do it. Just try it. Just do it. So I did it, and she was right.
Of course, Sarah's always right.
She's always right, right? It absolutely worked. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's how the massage therapy made it in the book, is it was supposed to be focused on fitness and massage therapy and the grumpy gym owner, and the whole Sunny and her dogs came in later.
Yeah. Wow. That was a lot of work weaving that in, because it's so instrumental to the whole movement of the book.
It was a huge rewrite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was worth it, obviously. You know?
And so again, what I was really fascinated about was you have the gym owner and the evolution of her getting fit again in the gym. And then you have him and his injuries from the military and her helping massage him through that. How are you able to, physicality, that kind of physicality is difficult to write. And you were able to really capture, again, his nurturing through helping her get fit and not fit, get her believing in her body. Her nurturing and helping to comfort his body and, not be on meds. How did you do that? That's really difficult. And you were able to do it in an entertaining way where it didn't feel like I was sitting through, a technical manual about massage. Yeah. How'd you do that?
So I, several years ago, I started massaging for CAUSE, which is Comfort for America's Uniformed Service Members.
Wow, great.
And basically you're massaging wounded warriors. And it's a volunteer program, and it's massage, Reiki, and reflexology. And it's twice a month. And it used to be once a month at Walter Reed and once a month at Fort Belvoir. I don't know if the Walter Reed one's still going on. But we still monthly will meet, twice a month, every second and fourth Wednesdays at Fort Belvoir. The wounded warriors can come and get free massage.
Wow.
Which, I don't think they should have to pay for massage. It should be for them, but it isn't. So we provide free massage to them. And I met a lot of wounded warriors that way.
Yeah.
And it's the best. Those are the best massages I give. No offense to anyone else I massage. And it's amazing. These service people are they don't just give when they're getting something in return. They're trying to tip you. They're trying to help you carry your things to your car. They're so thankful. And it's no, we don't take tips. I can carry my own things. This is all for you. This is your time to just get free massage. But that's where I learned a lot of that. And that helped translate to the book. I could very easily write Rhett because I had met pieces of him in dozens of other people that I had massaged for that program.
Sure. It was an interesting, I write steamy books, and you had such a gentleness. It was funny because there was this very tactile warmth to the physicality they had, and yet it was very, very respectful. Writing steamy, I'm like, when are they having sex on the massage table? And how entirely inappropriate is that in real life? I respect that this was a me thing you did not do, but it was an interesting read of it being so tender and so nurturing and obvious attraction, and yet, very, very respectful about what it was and wasn't. And me not being a non-professional, me not having any of those jobs. And I'm just doesn't everyone, you're are they just going to have sex on the table?
That's so funny. Actually, so that's a funny thing. How you do something like you make wine. And so there were probably times you would read wine scenes or things with wine in books, and you're probably going, no. That's not how it is. That's not how it would happen. That's not how you grow vines or whatever.
Yeah.
And I see that sometimes with even just scenes in shows where they're pushing the skin around. And you're not massaging that person. You're just putting lotion in that. You're just giving that person lotion. That's all you're doing. So it was important to me to if Constance is a massage therapist, a licensed massage therapist, and considering her personality too, she's not going to do anything illegal. And that actually would be illegal. Yeah. So, she was pushing it as it was. I think you have to, not that anyone cares about this, but I think the law in Virginia is you have to have not been your client for at least 6 months before you can date.
Oh, wow, really?
It's very strict. It's very, so that you keep ethics.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, with a romance novel, you're going to want, hey, when's the fun stuff going to happen?
Yeah, it would have been really sad if there had been no.
I tried to incorporate the reality for the character, the integrity of the character with the romance, and I hope I did that. I know it's not a super, tawdry novel.
No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was very important to tell the story that you had to tell, and that wouldn't have been appropriate about these two people. Right. That being said, there wasn't enough heat between them. I'm like, well, I mean, maybe there's an excerpt that will just send me.
Right? I can write you a little story about their, massage at home over the holidays.
Exactly. That's right. I know. It's the epilogue. It's the X-rated epilogue.
Just watch the holidays once you're a couple. Yeah. I write that just for you, Angelina.
Yes, thank you.
I can actually write some pretty good sex scenes. It just didn't fit in this book.
It 100% doesn't. Yeah, no, I just want you to know that if you ever need a newsletter addendum,
right?
I
should do it because you have a really cool newsletter where you offer free stories.
Yeah, just like whatever. I'm like, I'll just have like 2,000 words sitting around. I'm like, here, they want this.
You give people free content, and that's really cool. So that's a good idea. If you guys like steamy, hot sex scenes and such, and just sign up for her newsletter and you'll get like little short stories and
Alicia will give you the stories where people don't get arrested and sued for inappropriate workplace behavior, which I'm a fan of. Okay, let's get to these beautiful puppies on the cover, which there we go. But yeah, talk about rescue in your life and then rescue in, did you ever get your screen? First of all, did you ever get your screen back?
No. So I'm like staring at this, like I wanted to get my phone out and text my dad. Come here and fix this, but I didn't want to be rude. So
go for it. That is totally fine.
While you talk.
Yeah, it's only 6:28. We've got a little bit of time. Go ahead and text.
All right. So I'm going to say my screen is gone. Come help. You should, if you don't have teenagers, get some. They help with all the techie stuff.
They're kind of a pain in the ass for other reasons, though. Is the only problem. I do have I have like older than teenagers, and they're still a pain in the ass. So
right?
I love it.
Well, this because you have boys.
Yeah,
and I also have 2 boys. Same thing, but my daughter's a joy.
See.
No, she's watching. She's on a James Spader kick.
Yeah,
so she's watching every James Spader movie there ever was.
He's older than we are.
He's a very old soul. He's a very old soul, and like all the stars she likes, all the hunks she likes, are
That's so funny. I would kind of think James Spader was too old for me.
I think he's older than me. Honestly.
Yeah, he's older than us. There's no doubt. Yeah. Okay, talk to me about these incredible puppies. Talk about rescue in your life, and then again, the way you wove them in and made them. You just like, regardless of whether awful. I mean, some awful things were happening, but they were just such a fun, unique addition, and like just this weave through that was just really, really fun. So anyway, talk about rescue in life, and then talk about rescue in the book.
Okay, so in life, like I don't have a dog rescue or anything of my own. I've never done that, but most of the pets I've had my whole life have been a rescue in one way or another.
Yeah.
Starting from when I was a kid, all the way up to now, we've had strays that follow us home, or dogs that needed taking in, or whatever. I used to be able to say I have 4 rescue dogs and 4 cats. But recently, we had 2 Katrina puppies. So that tells me they were 15 years old. And the boy passed about a month ago. And
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. And the sister passed last week. So
my goodness.
Yeah, now I only have 2 rescue dogs. So it feels kind of weird to say that, but
sure.
But yeah, so we've been rescuing dogs and cats from like Hurricane Katrina, or found in a puddle. The mother was hit by a car. You know, all that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
We've been bringing rescue cats and dogs. So for people that are cat people, don't worry. I love cats too. They've been coming home with me forever. And then my daughter also has a rabbit. So we have a rabbit.
Oh my God. You literally just a whole arc going on there.
Yeah. And 2 guinea pigs before they recently passed as well. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so it was easy to put them in the it wasn't easy to put that storyline in the story. That was a challenge, but it was easy to write about them. And the various things I've seen over the years that make you, hate humans.
Yeah.
For the things that they can do to dogs and cats and other animals. But I was able to weave it in with that whole idea of rescuing, the whole idea of everybody having a wound and saving each other. That's how it kind of all fit together.
Yeah. And describe to me a little bit of the rescue vacation cabins. And that I thought that was such an interesting and unique way to represent. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And so it's Sunny. Is that the name of the sister? Sunny's.
Yeah, Sunny. Yeah. She lives in this older house, and she's got all these cabins on her property. They've got some acreage, which you can do in Virginia if you're not too close to DC. You can have quite a bit of acreage with, old buildings on it. And she transformed them into these cabins that she could run out and use that as money, for her rescue. I don't know what made me think of that, to be honest.
I thought it was adorable.
I think it was because, you'll like this, I was at a winery here, and I forget which winery, and I know my mom's listening, and she would know which one. And we went and we played bingo, and we were raising money for a dog rescue. It might have been Operation Pause for Homes, or it might have been another one.
Yeah. And
this little beagle just wandered in while we were playing bingo. And the lady was like, oh, yeah, he lives here on the grounds. He just wandered around. He's not one of ours. He's a neighbor, but he comes over all the time.
Yeah.
We got this idea because there's different buildings on the ground of the winery,
Uh-huh.
I want my rescue to be like that, where she's got, different buildings and animals wandering around and it sprung from there.
It's such a great idea. I love those kind of like adult summer camp stories. Susan Elizabeth Phillips did a book about when she was in her football star series. One of her football stars inherits from like an aunt this like old campground with cabins, and he has to inherit, and for whatever reason, I forget, he has to take it over for the summer, and then the love interest is with him, and so it's the same thing. It's like cabins and a lake, but this just idea of like summer camp for adults, and then you have dogs too. I just loved it, and I was like, let's just spend all of our time there. Can we just go there? And and then massage, that Constance is doing the massages, and then Rhett's there, like, and Christmas. It was Christmas. Was it Christmas or Thanksgiving? It was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so we went through the whole span of like Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then it went into spring.
Yeah, it was. I loved that so much. And so, what is I'll ask that later. So I want to ask, but are we gonna get to spend any more time on the rescue in any of your next books? More time in the rescue campgrounds?
Yeah, a little bit. So in the next book, it's a brand new heroine, brand new female hero.
Okay.
It always sounds like you're saying heroine when you say
it does.
Heroine. I don't like to use that word. But it's a brand new female lead, and you're also going to see a Detective Callahan's coming back.
Oh, okay. Poor broken heart. Oh, never mind.
He's our hero.
I'm a total spoiler. Deborah and Mike. But yeah, right.
He's our hero. So he gets his own book. So for those of you thinking, what happens to Sean? He gets his own book, and we get a brand new heroine. And then obviously Sunny, we're going to see Sunny and Constance and the dogs and Pete more. You're going to see them more. Yeah, they don't go away. You see more rounds and all that kind of stuff in the next book. For sure.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was a really, really original idea. My family and I went, that just made me think of it, the dog wandering out. Somebody said that was Barrel Oak Winery.
Oh, okay. So someone, and I didn't see the comments, so I would have, was it Marianne? Did Marianne say that?
It says R. Segovia. Lisa.
Yeah.
Barrel Oak Winery.
Stepdad. Okay, yeah.
My family and I went to Hawaii. My parents splurged and took us to Hawaii for my stepfather's 60th birthday. And my son kept saying, we had this big rambling house that we were all staying at, and a bunch of us. And my son just kept saying, all we need is a puppy. All we need is a puppy. And all of a sudden, one evening, we're all standing around. They had this huge island in the kitchen. We're all standing around. And my son just looks up and he stares at us and he's like, guys, and he's whispering, guys, don't make any big motions, but look down at my feet. And we looked down, and on his feet was a little puppy, a little tiny, big-eyed puppy. And we were like, and it was just standing there, like totally chill. And my son reaches down and picks him up, and it was the most amazing, big-eyed, chill dog. And he wasn't a puppy, but he was just very small. And he just let us like pass him from person to person. And he would just like fall asleep in somebody's arms, or then he'd lick and kiss somebody. And it turned out it was the landlord's dog who lived next door, and who would just like wander over to like whoever to like, give them love. But in that moment of like the strange dog that comes over and gifts you with their love is like the best thing in the whole world. So anyway, I love that. That was horrible.
I love that. That's such a cute story.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. So anyway, one of the things you really talked about, and again, I'm just going to keep referring to your bio because it was just such a great like connection between who you are and what you've written, what your debut book is, such a great representation of who you are. Really wanted to talk about strong women. The journey for the strong women in your book is not easy. Like this is not if people want to talk about alpha heroines, it's, they're rich and they know how to shoot guns, or they know how to, whatever, to karate chop somebody, whatever. But that's not who you had. Very obviously strong personality heroines, but they weren't, this was not an easy journey for them. Talk a little bit about, why is writing strong women for you, and how did you represent that in this book?
Yeah, so for me, I used the fitness angle partly for that. That's partly where I started noticing it, as far as when I really got into CrossFit, and this was like at least 8 years ago at this point. What I really liked was this idea of the stronger the woman was, the more people admired her. Mm-hmm. I had never seen that before. It was like, in life, you go through life and we're used to it. It's the way it is. And we don't even know we're seeing it, but we're taught from an early age to not eat, to be small and tiny and weak, to keep in our place. I mean, to varying degrees. It's getting better, obviously, but, traditionally, women aren't supposed to build muscles and eat lots of food. That's not what we think of when we think of, a woman. That's not our ideal.
Yeah.
And when I started CrossFit, it was like, everybody talked about eating and getting stronger and building muscles. And see how my screen vanished. Hi, everybody. This is my daughter, Maggie.
Hi, Maggie. Mama.
Hi, sweetheart. I and pushed a button. I don't know.
Can you see now?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, good.
So I really wanted that representation in my heroines. I mean, obviously, I don't want them to be instantly strong. They have to have a struggle. They have to, struggle like all of us too. We're not, even if we're strong people, we're not always strong. Sometimes we're weak and we need other people. And I wanted to portray that too. Right. So the women in the book are getting strong physically, discovering new ways to get strong physically, but that obviously isn't the huge spotlight on them. It's that strength through love and service to others. Mm-hmm. Was a lot of the strong women aspect, where they could also help the grumpy gym hero with the huge muscles and the grumpy exterior. Yeah. They can still use their own strength to help him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're strong enough to be able to help him become vulnerable and show his strength that way. So I'm kind of babbling, but you get right? Yeah.
Well, and not only that, but it's like he definitely helped encourage her and nurture her, but she was the one who stepped into the CrossFit gym. She was the one who went back, as much as, I definitely do think there was a real, element of being encouraged and her being nurtured, but it felt like so much there was strength in her being weak and needing to explore and get stronger, that she didn't have to come immediately from a place of strength, but so much of her journey is self-directed, to strength. And obviously by a hot, nice, grumpy guy is helpful. Like, it's inspiring.
That's always best.
Inspiring is what that is. But yeah, no. And so is Sunny not getting her own, I guess that love story. I don't know. For some reason I was like, but no, not yet. Like,
so the way it turned out for Sunny.
Yeah.
I don't want to do spoilers either.
Yeah, I don't want to do spoilers either.
But what I'll just say, the path with Sunny, I didn't plan that. That just happened.
Yeah, they do that.
One of those things, and other writers, and maybe some readers too, but other writers will definitely know what I'm talking about when I say I didn't know my characters were going to do that.
Yeah.
And some people who don't write or people who don't read a lot will be like, what is she talking about?
Yeah. It sounds like we're crazy.
It sounds like we're crazy. But I had no idea that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. What am I going to do now? And it just didn't seem to fit for it to be drawn out more or longer in this space. And again, at the time, we didn't know it was going to be a series. So, and I have seen, again, I am not going out looking for reviews, but ones people have tagged me in that are obviously positive, because only mean people tag you in bad reviews. Yeah. So any reviews I've read that I've been tagged in have been positive. And some people have said, I sure hope Sunny gets her own book. And I'm like, okay. So people want Sunny to have her own book now. And that would, not saying I couldn't do it, but it would take some juggling to make it fresh, because she's already, to relive some tension. To relive some tension there.
That's right. That's and I don't want to be too spoilery either. And talking a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about your writing journey, because even the way you talk, you don't talk like a debut author. This isn't the first book in the can for you that's out in the world. So talk a little bit about how you got started. And then I know there was kind of a long journey to publishing, which I think is always so good for other aspiring writers to hear, because I think sometimes well, if they don't love my first book, then
and that's hard, especially now when you see, you look out there and you see some authors and they're in their 20s or they're, they just turned 30 and they have this huge book that had this, thousands of sales and thousands of followers and instant, bestseller. And some writers think maybe that's how it should be. And if it doesn't happen that way, then they must suck.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? And that's not the case. That's not everybody's journey. Everybody's journey is different. I learned long ago that nothing that I want is going to come easily and it's going to come quickly. Everything that I've ever done in my life that I really wanted or was really worth something, I've had to work my butt off for. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it is. If someday I hit the lottery, fine, but I don't expect it. So for me, I've been writing since I was a little kid. I wrote books when I was a little kid, and then I wrote romance novels when I was a teenager. And this was pre-word processing, really. So some were on typewriters. And then they came out with word processors that weren't computers.
Yeah.
Standalone things. And I begged my parents to buy me one of those for Christmas. And I got one of those, and I wrote romance novels on that. I wrote a Western with a female heroine that was like really bad. Awesome. I wish I'd saved these, but I didn't. I've been writing books a long time. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's just something I've always done. Never really thought about it as a career or doing it for money. And then when I got a little older, I realized, okay, there's this whole path to publication. And I started learning about that. And I'm learning about when you take your art and you try to turn it into a product to market. And they're two different things.
Yeah.
And so I learned all about it, decided, I want to do that, because not everybody does. Some people just want to write, And in this day and age, with everything on the internet, you can write and self-publish if you want. But I wanted the traditional path. I had strong ideas about what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And I sought out to get an agent with, I'd written several books. I'd placed in competitions like the Pikes Peak novel competition. They don't have that anymore, but they used to. They used to have a lot of different novel competitions. Now they have stuff like Pitch Wars and all that. We didn't have that when I was doing this. Twitter was a baby or wasn't even there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I entered contests, and when I got confidence, I started querying agents. That took a while. But then once I had the right book and queried the right agent, because some people think, oh, I want any agent. You don't.
Yeah, no, you don't.
The right agent for you, that represents your stuff and will fight for you. And then once I got Sarah and I went out with the novel I had queried her with, and it didn't end up going anywhere. And at the time, I tell Sarah, I always think we were like ahead of our time with what we were trying to sell, because we were strong women, and we had multicultural stuff in there, and we had kind of a quirky genre where I kind of straddled that line of romance and women's. I don't fit neatly into romance. I fit more neatly into women's, but even that genre is kind of its own thing. So because of all that, it always came down to, we don't know quite how we'd market it, or I didn't really like the heroine. I didn't really warm up to her, which to me meant they wanted her to be different than what I wanted. And so it took a while, and we finally came into our own, and I just kept going. I just kept writing. And I'd send stuff to Sarah, and some of it she liked, some of it she didn't. And we just anything that we both loved, we'd go out with. And we finally hit. I think it was a mixture of, the right. Also, I do really think the time's changing. Yeah, a lot to do with it. The whole Me Too movement, all kinds of things happening where women don't have to just be swept off their feet anymore. They can sweep too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And they just because they have a little bit of sass doesn't mean that they're unlikable. We're immediately labeled unlikable if we don't smile enough, right? Yeah. And that pervaded the romance genre too. And I think now that's changing. Hopefully.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's my year, and I feel like I put you on the spot talking about the long journey, and I should have qualified that with saying I wrote for 20 years before I published. So it's like, no, I so identify with the long journey and talking about that journey with people, because they, there is this, because of self-publishing, people think it should be instantaneous. But I do also agree that if we wanted to write stories about strong women and the onus of strong women, that, because there is stories like strong women, but still being so kind of nurtured along by this dude where, again, like I said, Constance really, it was a self-determining journey, that she needed nudging and helping and care along the way, but there really was a lot of self-determination. And the same thing, I definitely write about women who very much were self-determining and like Constance, like they're not, the love is not what's their goal. Falling in love is not their goal. It happens, it happens along the journey. But I do agree. I think the overall industry is changing, and how we expect women to be portrayed and how we, enjoy their personalities, because both of them, Constance and Sunny, are both very distinctive, strong women who, falling in love feels like the last thing on their agenda right now. They've got so many more things that are more important to them.
Yeah, exactly. And you obviously write the same. You write really strong heroines that, aren't the traditional princess, even if they are princesses. They are, right? They're princesses, right?
Yeah, they're all like,
they literally are, but they're not the whole, come rescue me.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to have.
We have this great comment from Sarah. Our agent, Sarah Megavo, said, this is something I love extra hard about Rescue You, how rescuing someone is in itself an act of vulnerability.
Oh.
I love that. Yeah. Yes. And that's really true. I mean, when you put your hand out to somebody and say, do you need that in itself, because the person could be like, no, I don't need that. That can happen. And so it is in itself, which is, again, being in the military and being of service and that level of like, do you need help? Do you need help? And putting yourself out there that way is difficult.
It is. Yeah, it definitely. You come from that military culture. If you've, especially if you've been in a war zone, you're not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm feeling a little weak right now. I need some help. That's just not the mindset that they're coming with. So, it was a way to show, you know, and in the work that I've done with Cause, you know, those service people, and a lot of them have been in combats, and they come and they're like, hey, yeah, give me what you got. I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to just lay here and let someone else make me feel better for a while. And so I use that in the book.
Yeah. No, it's I'm here to let you. I've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll
take that helping hand. I have no pride about it anymore. I'm taking that helping hand.
Yeah.
That was a really good comment, Sarah. You're the best.
Yeah, that was fantastic. We are going to take a few questions if anyone has any questions, and then I want to talk about what's next. Talk a little bit more about the next book, Elysia. But Sarah said, you both write strong heroines. Can you talk about how your heroines grow from the beginning of your books to the end of your books?
You go ahead, Angelina. You haven't talked much.
Well, because I'm the question asker.
I know.
I just think, I think a lot of mine is about a heroine having a vision of herself and it being really, really firm, because that's what she needs to be strong. And that vision of herself is able to change and evolve as the book moves along, through the course of the book, and also through, melding with this man who always initially challenges her, but then also as the book moves along, challenges her to be her best self as she's challenging him to be herself. So I always think it's about both characters finding the best selves, and sometimes it's breaking out of who you assume you have to be to face the world to who your best self is to be able to. So it's that evolution into kind of breaking out into what we feel we have to be to what you can be when you've got a really good partner by your side who supports you. That allows for a level of vulnerability. So how do you think your heroines grow from?
I think she had like a little wavy roller coaster ride where she's, at one point in time was a really strong, confident daughter of a Vietnam veteran who had always made her be strong, always had to be strong. And then all of a sudden, some things happened in her life, the loss of her dad, the loss of a fiance, that made her question, gosh, am I really as strong as I thought I was?
Yeah.
I'm not. Maybe I'm, really, really weak inside. Look how weak I am. I don't have anything anymore. And then she had to build back up from that. And at the same time that she was finding a new strength with the gym and with Rhett, she was also realizing that she needed to let her little sister find her own way too, and learn how to stand on her own 2 feet. So when some things happened in the book that I won't spoil, she had to let her little sister kind of deal with that. And
it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and it's but I've been momming this person all these years. Yeah. But now my strength has to be to let her be strong. So she kind of did one of these things, I would say.
Yeah. But it was a fun, again, I think that's what allowed for kind of some of the at the end of the day, we're writing genre books. So we do need what's exciting happening next. And it did. That allowed for kind of what is she going to get over the next hump of whatever this is. Yeah. Mayon, do you remember Mayon from the retreat? She asked a question. How did you pick the names of your characters? Sunny, Rhett, Constance. I remember you talking a little bit about this in the book.
So I guess I like unusual names. I like them to be unusual, but not so unusual that the whole time you're distracted from the story by trying to figure out how to pronounce it. Yeah. So I went for kind of old-fashioned because Constance really, really fits her. She's a constant. Yeah. She's everybody's constant. But yet she's got this little cute little person inside that Rhett finds, which is why he calls her Stanzi. It's a kind of a cute little, sweet little, sexy little nickname. And so she's has a little facet of her that comes out, that he brings out. Rhett, I just thought that was a really funny name for him to have, this old-fashioned hero, movie star name, but yet he really looks nothing like, if you saw him in person, he wouldn't look like Rhett from Gone with the Wind. So I just thought that was kind of cool. And then Sunny, again, that really kind of fit her. She's just the sunny, happy. I guess I kind of picked names that fit their personalities in a way is what I did.
Sunny definitely fit.
To be unusual. Yeah.
Well, that is so awesome. We've got 5 minutes left. So I want to give you just a little bit of time to talk about the next book, when it's coming out, and what the next book is about.
Okay, so it's probably
Yes.
Fall of 2021. It's sometime in 2021, probably fall. And it's called Forever Home. And this time we've got a retired Marine who's been in since she was 17.
Wow.
She's retiring. She's put in her 20, and she's developing her dream of buying her own motorcycle shop that restores vintage bikes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right at the outset, her father's been killed in a motorcycle accident. So she's got this trauma going on at the same time these great things are happening in her life. This huge trauma happens.
Sure.
And her father raised her. So this is a really big deal. It was just her and him all her life. So she's dealing with this grief. She's opening this shop. She's just as much as the dog, she's trying to find a home. So she's got this stray dog that keeps coming into her shop. Honey and Constance. And then she's also looking for a gym, which is our link to Rhett. And then she runs into Detective Callahan there. And at first, there's no love on her side. He's instantly smitten. She's like, no, it's going to happen
pretty quick. He's a smitten guy.
He's a smitten guy. He falls hard. And, but she does not. She does not. So there's this whole love interest developing. So I hope you like motorcycles. I hope you like rescue dogs.
That is
more military. Oh, more of it, all the same, but different.
That is fantastic. That sounds so cool, Elysia. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us this evening. It's so fun.
Thank you. Thank you for the interview. And if you want to throw some more stuff out about Lush Money and Hate Crush.
Oh no, they can go to one more page, buy our books.
Lush Money.
Yes, I put the links in the comments on both Facebook and YouTube. No matter where you're watching this, you can get book copies of both of their books. They're lovely. This has made me so much even more excited to read it, Elysia, and also made my muscles all ache as I remember that I haven't had a massage in 7 months. And so I'll need to read the book if only to live vicariously through them in that respect, if nothing else.
Get your massage. Get one.
Yes. I think we've all earned it at this point in our pandemic lives. But thank you both so much, and thank you to all of us who joined us at One More Page. We have other events you can check out on our website. We've got all sorts of fun holiday things coming up. Our holiday gift guide is up, or if you'd like this sort of book, there are things like that in there, and all sorts of great things. But thank you both so much, and I hope that you have a lovely night that is maybe a little drier than it looks like my drive home is going to be at least.
Well, thank you.
Cuddle up with those rescued cats, of course.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Angelina. Thank you, One More Page. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda, so much. And I want to say thank you for Samantha. I never looked at the comments, but Samantha over here said thank you for tonight. Thank you, Elysia, and thank you to your family for your service. She also had said she was really looking forward to Sean's book, and then at the beginning, she had said she'd been looking forward to this all day.
Wow, that's
so hopefully we entertained.
Yes, and a happy Veterans Day as well to everyone who served, Elysia, to your family, and to you for the work that you did as well.
Thank you, Elysia.
Have a good night, internet world, and we'll see you for the next one.